Hi, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, salutations, greetings, all the pleasantries. You are afforded those because those are easy to give away. But anyway, here we are, Cengage. Uh, we're moving forward here to Excel. All right, at this point, we've already covered the Excel Made Major project. But I want you to, we're going to work together today. So I'm expanding Excel there underneath Excel Module 1. You got your Learn It areas. I suggest you get those done. But under Apply It, we're going to work this one together today here on this video. Well, I'll be working it for you and it'll have it available as needed. So I'm going to click this here to get the assignment open. I'm going to start it because this is what we do. Got 2 files download. I'm going to download all. They're going to go to my I don't like those opening automatically. I need to change that setting, but anyway, we've got everything downloaded now. I want to go to my downloads folder. In my browser, I have this button here, but I'm going to click this folder here to open them up in their location. So we see the 2 right there. We got our instructions and we got our working file. Our instructions are a Word document, but not surprisingly, our working file is an Excel file because we are now studying Excel. All right, one of the first instructions it's going to say is, I'll open it up so we can see it, but all right, here it says edit the file name, changing the 1 to the 2. So the _2 at the end here needs to be, the _1 needs to be an _2. All right, I've shown you a couple of ways to do that. This is the way I like to do it. I like to take the file, right click on it, and go to rename. Press my right arrow key to get it to the end. Backspace 1, type 2, press enter. Easy as that. We got the file renamed. We don't have to worry about it later. We're done with it. If we needed another copy of this Excel file for whatever reason, you can always download it again. So right now we're ready to go. So we got our instructions open. Now we're going to open up the file. I'm going to minimize everything else in the background here. We don't need anything else going. All right. This is, no, you don't need that. Too many things going on my computer at once. All right, here we go. All right, so we opened our file up. There's our instructions and our working file. All right, so I'm going to enable editing. I'm going to go show the instructions again just so you can see. We've got all right, so it's got a tip for you here on the second bullet under getting started. It says, with the working file open, ensure that your first and last name is displayed in cell B6 in the documentation worksheet. All right, so this will be true for every one of these. So let's take a look. I'm going to take my instructions and I'm going to move them over here. Moved them off screen for you guys, but they're still there for me to follow, and I'll bring them on the screen as needed along the way. All right, so I click here. This is cell B6. It's got my name in it like it says it should. All right, so this is the Cengage controls over this document. Otherwise, we're working here on this tab or this worksheet, budget summary. All right. Very good. All right, moving forward. All right, project steps. Pretty good. A lot of information here, so I'll bring it over for us to look at together. Josh Bartell is the Senior Director of the Pennsylvania Field Office for New Era Medical, a global company that manufactures medical equipment. he has created a worksheet summarizing the revenue and expenses for the first 3 quarters of the year. He asked for your help in determining what the Pennsylvania office needs to do to meet its targeted profit goals for the fourth quarter. So go to the budget summary worksheet, which I did. Cut the worksheet title from cell, I guess that I1, and paste it in cell A1 to display the title and its expected location. All right, so I'm going to move this over here, get the instructions out of the way. So apparently we're looking for cell I1, which is over here. All right, a couple of ways we can cut it. An easy way is to right click on it and say cut. And we're going to go over to A1 and we're going to right click and we're going to say paste. You could also do that with the keyboard. You can cut it and paste it with the keyboard. Control X and Control P. But we did it with the right click menu. Either way works. This is not limited like when you're doing the virtualized exercises. So getting the goal done is the most important thing. All right, so we got that done. All right, so that completed step 1. Good for us. Step 2, in cell E2, add the text number of, so the complete text appears as number of salespeople. So in cell E2. So how are we navigating this thing here? All right, so you have columns, which are lettered or numbered A through B, C, D, and all the way up. And then you have rows that are labeled by numbers, right? So when it references a cell number, like in this case E2, we need to go E and then the second down to 2. Now you'll see the location, see our boundary around our cell is highlighted with this green border. That means that's the active cell. You can also tell which one is the active cell because that is the one that's listed up here on the top, right up here where my mouse is, E2, right? All right, so right here we're supposed to put number of in front of this. So a couple of ways you can do this. The easiest way is to click in this, what they call the formula bar up here, and we're going to type number of space, press enter. All right, let's see what our next instruction is. All right, step 3. In quarter 2 in cell C4, so we'll enter quarter 2 in cell C4 and quarter 3 in cell B4. So C4, so that is here. So I'm going to enter quarter 2. Press the tab key, it'll move over to D4. And you could also click in it with your mouse. I'm going to type quarter 3. Press enter. All right, that takes care of step 3. Step 4, in cell G5, enter a formula without a function that describes what function that subtracts the target revenue, cell F5, from the year-to-date revenue, cell E5. So we're subtracting F5 from E5 to determine how much revenue in the field office needs to earn for quarter 4 to reach its. All right, so a lot of words in there. Let's make them make sense. So say enter a formula without a function. That basically means, so right here in cell G5, I'm going to find that. G5 is right here. Formula without a function means type the equals key and then just make the math work, okay? So it actually tells us exactly what to do in the instructions. Subtract F5 from E5, right? So I'm going to click on the number I want first, which is E5. I'm gonna, now that I have my formula started with equal sign, I'm gonna click that value, so E5 pops in there. I'm gonna type on my keyboard a minus key. Then I'm gonna click on F5. Then I'm gonna press enter. All right, let's make sure I did that right. It says subtract the target revenue F5 from the year-to-date revenue E5. All right, so in this case, just in case you didn't pick up on what happened there, they had a target of 4.2 million, but they only reached 3.1 million. So they got a $1 million variance. They did out off target. It's a negative number. And as we learned in the Excel major project, a negative number shows up in Excel in parentheses, as you see right here. So, all right, so we've completed, that was step 4. I'm going to click on save here. All right, so step 5, Josh wants, so this is your boss or the guy you're helping. Josh wants to calculate the gross margin for quarters 1 through 3 and the year to date. Provide this information as follows. All right, so we got 2 steps. We got an A and a B. In cell B7, enter a formula without a function that divides the gross profit B6 by the revenue B5. So we're doing a formula without a function again, and we're doing it in B7. So all right, so B7 is here. In order to start a formula without a function, I'm gonna type an equals key, an equals symbol, right? That starts a formula. And according to our instructions, I need to divide the gross profit by the revenue. So the gross profit is B6 divided by B5. All right, so I'm going to click on B6. And I'm going to divide it by, which is a / B5. Press enter. So it gives us our gross margin, 12.5%. That was our gross profit. Okay. No, our gross margin, because we use gross profit in the calculation. So we divided B6 by B5. All right, so that moves on to step B, 5B. All right, fill the range C7 through E7 with the formula in cell B7 to find the gross margin for quarters 2 and 3 and for the year to date. So it wants us to go from C7 to E7 with this. So what I'm going to do here, let's see, my formula is still, this cell B7 is still selected. See the little green square in the bottom right corner? I'm going to move my mouse over this until it turns into this smaller plus sign. It turns from the white plus sign to a small black plus sign, right? I'm going to click and hold my mouse, and then I'm going to drag this over to here. All right, it's going to copy that formula down to the through the areas I selected. Pretty nifty. All right, very good. All right, so now we're on step 6. Josh needs to sum the sales for each Pennsylvania region for the year to date. Provide this information as follows. In cell E10, enter a formula that uses the sum function to total the regional sales data for the Northwest region. So the range B10 through D10. So we're going to put the value in E10. So where is our E10? E10 is here. And we want it to sum up B10 through D10, right? And we're going to use the sum function. All right, so a way we can do that here easily on the screen is we can click up here on the top or on the home tab under the editing group. There is an auto sum button. We click that and it will give us the sum function of B10 through D10 because that's what's adjacent to it. So that's really all we need to do is press enter there, and we've summed those up. We're going to use the fill handle to fill out E11 through E13. So I'm going to click back here on my value that I just created, and I'm going to move my mouse over to the bottom right of the cell. It's going to change icon. It's going to change pointers for us. I'm going to click and hold. I'm going to drag it down to here. Now we've calculated all of those. calculated these, we calculated those, calculated these, and it also added all of these up for us because those formulas were already available in the spreadsheet. I can save. All right, step 7. Yeah, I think that's right, 7. Yes. All right, in step 7, in cell F10, enter the value 925000 to provide the targeted annual sales amount for the Northwest region. Cell F10. All right, F10. It actually just wants us to type the value in 925000. Enter. Josh wants to determine how much revenue each region needs to generate in Q4 to reach its target for the year. So this is step 8. Enter this information as follows. We got 2 parts, an A and a B. All right, in cell G10, enter a formula out of function that subtracts target sales for the Northwest region from its year-to-date regional sales. So, all right, so in G10, located here, yeah, G10. All right, we're going to formula out a function. That means we type an equal sign once we get in there. And we're going to, let's see, we're going to subtract F10 from E10, right? So in order to get that, it's an easy way to get those values. I'm just going to click on E10. I'm going to type a minus on my keyboard. I'm going to click on F10. I'm going to press enter. We're going to copy the formula in cell G10 and then paste it in the range G11 through pasting the formulas only. Find the variances in the other regions for the total. So we're going to paste formula only. All right, so I'm going to copy this here. I'm going to go, where did I want us to do this for? Hold on. G11 through G14. So that's 11, 12, 13, 14, right? I'm going to right click here and I'm going to paste the formula only. So you got some options here. Paste formulas is this one here. The one that looks like the clipboard with a little FX on it. All right, so I just paste the formulas only. The value up here stayed there and I pasted the formula in. Nice, good tool, good tip. All right, so sorry, I got distracted there for a second. All right, step 9. All right, we've got 12 steps here, so we're getting close to the end of this, which is nice. Step 9. Josh is interested in how much revenue each of the 12 salespeople generates on average in each quarter and for the year to date. Find this information as follows. So 2 parts. Step A, edit cell B15 to include a formula without a function that divides the total regional sales by the number of salespeople. Don't change the reference to cell to G2 that is already there. So, all right, so we're just leaving the value that's in G2, which you see up here is 12. We're leaving that alone. All right, so let's see. That wants us to do it in cell B15. Where is B15? Right there. All right, so we're doing a going to type equals to a formula without a function. And we're going to just divide B14 by the number of salespeople, which is G2. So I'm going to find B14 here, click it. I'm going to type my division symbol, which is a /, and then I'm going to click on G2. Then I'm going to press enter. Right? And we're going to fill the range C15 through E15 with a formula beep to determine the average revenue per. So we're going to fill this in through C15 through E15. So as I have this selected, the value we just created, I'm going to move my mouse pointer over the bottom right corner until it turns into the little black plus. I'm going to click and hold, and I'm going to drag over. All right, and you're going to see how it's like, what the heck? It just gave you this error right here. Let me go back and show you why that happened. I was trying to find, that's what I was looking for. It seems like they the way we need to fix that is this. So I'm going to undo that. Right, and here in this formula, with this formula active, what we want G2 to be an absolute value. We want that to remain with us once we copy the formula. So what was happening was, let me just show you this. When we did this before and we drug this over, so this one right here, it actually used H2 because that was the next one in line, and this one right here used I2. So those don't have any value in there, so it didn't know what to do with it. We want it to use G2 for all of these, right? So in order to do that, while I have the formula selected, I'm going to press F4 on my keyboard, and you'll see that it places these dollar signs around G2 before the G, before the 2. Press enter. It makes that an absolute value, right? So by doing that, now when I drag this over, it's going to use G2 for these, and it will actually calculate properly. And that's what we wanted it to do. We wanted to use the number of salespeople once for all of those. So that's the right thing to do. And I don't know how I missed that in the instructions. Maybe it said that somewhere. And it may be that we're going to fix it in a later instruction, but either way, we've already got it done, so we're good there. All right, so that brings us to step 10. Josh needs to calculate the operating margin, which is the ratio of operating profit or loss to revenue and indicates how much the office makes after paying for expenses. All right, so calculate the operating margin as follows. All right, so in cell B20, let's find B20 here. All right, we're going to enter a formula without a function that divides the operating profit by the revenue. All right, so we're going to divide B19 by B5. So we're going to do a formula without a function, and we're going to click B19, and we're going to divide it by B5. Boom. All right, press enter. So our operating margin is 2%. I'm sure the next step is going to have us use the fill handle to fill in the rest of these. So I'm going to click my cell. I'm going to hover over the bottom corner, get my little black plus. I'm going to click and hold, and I'm going to move it over. Now I've got my operating margin across the board there. I want you to understand that, it's nice to be able to jump into a spreadsheet that's already laid out like this and kind of do some of these values. It's a good way to learn it. So slow down a little bit and just make sure you're understanding why you're doing what you're doing as you're doing these things. trying to explain it along the way, but hopefully you're getting something out of it. All right, step 11. All right, we're going to work with some charts, so that's kind of neat. Josh wants to include a visualization of the total year-to-date sales separated by region. Insert a chart to provide this visualization as follows. So we're going to create we got steps A, B, C, and D here. All right, so we're going to create a 2D pie chart based on non-adjacent ranges A9, A13, and E9 through E13. All right, so we're going to do an insert, and we have all these charts up here, right? It wants us to do a 2D pie chart. Here's our pie charts right here. Here's a 2D pie chart right there. All right, in order for us to make that work, though, we got to have some values that it takes when we do it. So I'm going to select the values first, A9 through A13. All right, so A9 through A13. All right, I got those selected. And then I'm going to hold down my control key on my keyboard. Then I'm going to choose E9 through E13. Looks right. All right, now that I have those selected, I'm going to go back up here to my charts. I'm going to click my down arrow. I'm going to select the 2D pie chart. All right, when I do that, see it shows it. We have the values in now, which are represented by the colored pie slices, and we have the key based on our headings. So we're going to do some other things to spice this up a little bit. Matter of fact, it actually we're going to enter. So it gives us a very specific thing to name the title of the chart. So I'm just going to copy that from my instructions here. You see that little area highlighted right there. I copied that. And we're going to change the chart title. So in order to do that, I'm just going to click up here in this chart title in the title box. And I'm just going to paste that in. You could type it, either way would work. All right, we're going to resize and reposition the chart. So its upper left corner is in cell I4 and its bottom right corner is in cell L18. All right, this has got to be in this very specific spot, so when you submit it for grading that it actually you get it correct. So we're going to put the upper left corner in cell I4. All right, so I4 is here. We want our top of our chart to be in cell I4. Make it a little more obvious. All right, and then the bottom, it wants the bottom of our chart to be in L18. Where is there's 18, L18. All right, so I've got to resize a little bit. That is L18. I'm going to make it a little more obvious. All right, so I've got this corner in L18 and this corner in I4 as per the instructions. So it's placed exactly where they told us to place it. All right, and then we got a final step, step D, apply style 3 to the chart. All right, so I'm going to double click the chart, and when I do, I've got chart tools up here. And you got these different styles, right? Chart styles, it wants us to choose style 3. So style 1, style 2, style 3. All right, so it actually dressed it up a little bit. It actually gave us percentages on top of our in different coloring with that style 3. I think it looks great, right? So I'm going to save it right here. Got step 12 here. We're going to hide the grid lines for the budget summary worksheet to make it easier to read. So see the grid lines here, all these different lines, we're going to hide those. And right now, let me see, how do we hide grid lines? That's probably an easy way to do that. I'm just not. I'm going to do a search here. Grid lines. All right, so if I do a search for grid lines, show grid lines is is selected, if I click this, see, it actually removes that check. Now the grid lines are removed. I like the way that looks. All right, it gives us a tip here that there's a image inside. That was the last step, but that our document should look like this, and I believe that it does. So we are in good shape. We're going to save this, and we know it's saved in our downloads folder, right? Close it, don't need it open anymore. And I'm going to go back to my Cengage. Here, this is where we downloaded it from. It's still open. I'm going to click here. I'm going to go to my downloads folder. Oh, that's documents downloads. I'm going to select my working file we just worked with. I'm going to open. The files match so we don't have any errors, and then we're going to submit. And that is what it takes to get that one done. We'll also be working this one in class, but for now you have this video just in case you want to get ahead. But anyway, appreciate the time that you spent watching this. Have any questions or comments, please reach out. All right, thanks. Bye.